Today at RT Book Reviews, we have a special treat. We are joined by Daniel Silva, spy novelist. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
I'm so excited to talk to you because you have one of the most exciting characters being written today. And, of course, I'm talking about Gabriel. He is an ex-Israeli assassin who is now an art restorer.
He is. He's got two very distinct sides to his character. And the stories that I write about Gabriel reflect the makeup of his character. They are stories of intrigue and intelligence, but they also, almost nearly all of them, feature a very strong art component, and that is especially true of my new book, The Fallen Angel.
Yes, in The Fallen Angel, Gabriel is in the Vatican, of all places,
right,
restoring a Carravagio.
Right.
And it's not the first time he has been near the Pope. Can you say a little bit about his past exploits in the Vatican?
Well, my third book in the series was a book called The Confessor. I think it's one of my personal favorites in the series. It was named one of the best thrillers of all time by the Wall Street Journal. In that book, I introduced two characters. One was a fictitious pope, Pope Paul VII, and the other was that pope's private secretary, Monsignor Luigi Donati. And I just fell in love with those two characters. And so fans of the series know that Gabriel's life and career has intersected with the Vatican at numerous points. He's restored paintings for the Vatican, and in this book, he's restoring a Caravaggio, and it requires him to actually go to work inside the Vatican each day. And on one of those mornings, when he's working in the Vatican Restoration Lab, he is summoned to the Basilica, St. Peter's Basilica. A beautiful woman, a curator from the Vatican museums, lies dead there. Gabriel is asked to quietly investigate, and that's where the story really takes off.
And they really have to quietly investigate because as one of the rules of the Vatican, it's don't ask too many questions.
Well, that's one of the rules in my fictitious Vatican.
Yes, exactly.
and look, the Vatican has had its share of problems over the last few years. Obviously, we don't need to dwell on all those now, but I use that as a backdrop to motivate a very quiet investigation of this woman's murder. And Gabriel's the perfect person to investigate something quietly for the Pope and his private secretary.
Now, this woman, she fell from a great height and she died, and it's been passed around that to the newspapers and the news outlets that she committed suicide. But of course, Gabriel knows pretty much right away, because of some of the clues on site, that that's not what happened.
Right.
So how does one go about investigating a murder that's actually claimed to be a suicide?
Well, in my book, it involves what I like to do best, and that is the interaction of characters. But the Italian situation in the Vatican is kind of complicated because Italy, the Vatican is a separate country. And so Gabriel leaves the Vatican, goes into Italian territory, and investigates there and tries to find out exactly what this woman was doing in the last weeks and months of her life. And he discovers that she was conducting an investigation that angered some very powerful people, and that's what led to her death.
And Gabriel is quite known for angering people himself. That he has to. He might be an art restorer, but he definitely has to carry that gun at all times.
Yeah, and when he doesn't carry a gun, bad things happen to him.
So tell me a little bit. I heard a rumor that when you wrote the first book in the series, you actually didn't know that this was going to be a series. You didn't know Gabriel was going to kind of take over the popular culture like he has. Now, 9 novels later, you're still writing about him. Are there more stories on the horizon?
Now, there are 12 Allon novels now. So, look, I can't imagine ever not writing about Gabriel. I think that at some point I'm going to write stories that feature a protagonist other than Gabriel Allon, but I adore writing about the guy. I have a very loyal and passionate fan base, and so I have to balance that. I want to keep the character alive for them, but I also want to write other things. I've got to figure out a way at some point to do that. The one lesson I've learned is to never discuss a book that has not been written, so I'm going to kind of duck the rest of your question.
Hey, that's just knowing that there's more to come is good enough for me.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Again, this is Daniel Silva, and The Fallen Angel is available now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Morgan.